Thanks to Greenworks, Australia's ultimate battery-powered garden brand. Last night, it was a 48-point win to the Giants over Essendon. We've touched on this, but give us your summation.
Yeah, midfield dominance for the Giants was too strong. Callaghan, 33. Tom Green, 30 disposals, kicked a goal. 16 clearances Tom Green had, and I hope he gets inside the All-Australian team this year. Down back, Whitfield and Ash got it done as well. And Jake Stringer had a good game, kicked the 3 goals from his 16 disposals. Some good signs. No Jesse Hogan. Sam Taylor will come back into that side. And it was good to see Stephen Cornelio back, the forgotten player at the Giants. He's been to hell and back with injuries in recent times. Lost the captaincy a couple of years ago. I hope he can get back and be a part of this team in their finals run. But I was pretty impressed with the Bombers. Everyone expected them not to show up. They tried hard. They had 57 inside 50s. So many players unavailable. And Tim, it got me thinking about next year for the Bombers. Does this year hold them in good stead because of how many players they've been able to debut, unearth? So you come back next year and all of a sudden competition for spots is going to be at a premium.
Very much so. I don't think there's going to be any quick fix for Essendon next year, but I think they're going to see the positives out of it in regards to, as you say, getting some games into these kids. They are very, very much have made it quite clear to everyone. And I know everyone gets on social media, they haven't won a final for so many days. For them, I think it's the holistic build of the football club. I think you're on the right.
You've got to forget about that, don't you, the past. Like, it's there, but you've got to take in the short-term focus.
It's just an easy shot for us.
Yeah. So who's under more pressure next year, Ross Lyon or Brad Scott?
Oh, I think Essendon. I think Brad Scott's. It's a good question.
Think they're both the same.
Yeah.
I think we they've been senior coaches, second chance coaches. You give them a bit of a period where you hope they improve this young list. But next year, I think it's fair game on both of those coaches.
Yep, and it looks like St Kilda have thrown a bigger wad of cash at TDK now. I'm concerned about that.
What more? They've gone again.
Apparently, they've gone again. Broken last night by Theodoropoulos in Adelaide, but they've upped the ante on their contract.
Must be his form. He's playing well, earning that extra contract.
Wow.
That is unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. Anyway, all righty, let's get on to the games ahead. Now, this is an interesting one. Brisbane take on the Bulldogs. Huge game tonight at the Wollongabba ground, which is known as the Gabba. Sam Marshall, Bruce Reville are in. Ainsworth and Bailey both go out. Bailey suspended Ainsworth for the season. Liam Jones, Luke Cleary and Lachlan McNeil come all in for the Bulldogs. Caulfield, Dolan and Hines go out, making 3 changes. And just can I just mention the bench to you, Hase, here? Cleary, Garcia, McNeil, Poulter and Bailey Williams. Bailey Williams is a terrific player, and I think Garcia's got some upside. They're a little bit weak at times, and they've brought back in Liam Jones into a key position.
They are. You talk about the Western Bulldogs and how their stars are littered everywhere, but they do have some weakness in their team. Their small forwards, I don't think, are great, and some of those bench players probably not up to the standard of some of the best sides in terms of their depth. But this is a massive game. Good to see Liam Jones back for the Bulldogs. I think they had no choice. They had to sort this out because down back he probably helps the other players reach their potential, in particular Rory Lobb. But this is midfield star v midfield star. You got Bontempelli, Richards, Liberatore up against Neil, McCluggage and Dunkley. Probably the best 3 starting mids in the competition from both sides. So I'm excited about that. It's the Bulldogs in their handball game and it's the Brisbane Lions in their kicking game. They will get it and they'll look to maintain possession by foot. So contrasting styles. Looking forward to it. I think there's going to be an upset. I was pretty good last week with my tips, it must be said. I got a few of those 50-50 games right, and I think it's going to be upsets.
I am very proud of myself.
This round, and I'm going to start with the Bulldogs. I think they're going to take a scalp tonight.
The Bulldogs will beat Brisbane.
Yeah.
Can't see it happening, Paul. Cannot see it happening whatsoever. They are on shaky ground, the Bulldogs. Huge. If they get, Fremantle fans won't be cheering for the Bulldogs at all.
No, Hugh McCluggage game 200 in this one as well.
Terrific player.
All-Australian for him for the first time this year?
Yeah, 100%, Paul.
Yeah.
100%. I'm a McCluggage fan.
So Tom Green and Hugh McCluggage both in for their first All-Australian jerseys.
Hawthorn play Port Adelaide down in Tasmania. Mitch Lewis back first time in 12 months. Scrimshaw works his way back in and Bailey McDonald. Chol has a groin. Giath and Cam McKenzie have been omitted. Logan Evans, Mead and Williams come in for Port. Rosie and Horn Francis injured, and Willie Rioli has been dropped.
Not a good time to get a injury if you're Marvio Cho. I'm still not convinced he's the right guy for them in the big games. And I'm a Mitch Lewis fan. I reckon if there's a club out there that really wants his services, they could probably try and get him out of the Hawks. But he has been playing well in the VFL, coming back from his ACL. They don't lose down there, Tim, at UTAS Stadium. They've won their last 9, the Hawks. So they'll go in with a bit of confidence. They are a little light on for mids, it must be said. We saw that last week, exposed by Fremantle late in that game. Will Day, so important. He's not back yet, but if they can get him back into some good form, you give the Hawks a chance in the run home. They did a lot right against Freo, just fell away in that last quarter. And the outs, they're big, aren't they, for Port Adelaide? Jason Horne-Francis, Connor Rosie. Not surprised by Willie Rioli. Been talking about him.
And I don't care. I'm going to say he doesn't look fit.
No, he's not fit. Absolutely not fit. You can see that. Absolutely, and now he loses his spot. And where does he sit in his career? Is he safe for next year? New coach coming in, does he start with some strong standards and make a big
I think
call?
so. I think his pre-season will be paramount. I think he'll survive, and I think he can be exciting at the same time. But he seems to get a lot of excuses.
For you, Mitch Lewis, Kalshadir, Gunston, and Chol doesn't go into 3.
No.
So which one will miss out come finals?
Well, sometimes some clubs don't even think 3's too many. They got 4. I like Kalshadir.
Me too. You got to play the kid.
Yeah, you got to play him. Can't drop Gunston.
No.
So it's either going to be Lewis or Chol, and Lewis gets a chance.
So it's a playoff, isn't it, over the next few weeks to see how they go.
Chol, unlucky timing. Who are you tipping?
Hawthorn.
Dane Rampy and Peter Laddams come in for Tom McCartney, who's got concussion. Aaron Francis goes out. Davies Uniac, Coleman Jones, Teakle and Banch comes in. Another one from Werribee. Finbar Maley loses his spot. Bailey Scott, Robert Hansen Jr. likewise, and Tristan Sherry goes out for 3 weeks.
Weren't convincing last week, Sydney Swans, but they got there in the end against St Kilda. North have been really disappointing this year, it must be said. And there's another coach who should be under the same sort of scrutiny next year as those other two, even maybe more so this year. I think we all expected more from them. They expected more because they did make the draft selection last year where they gave away their future first this year to Richmond. It just hasn't worked out for them. I think Sydney will keep on rolling on and keep their slim chances alive.
A lot of talk about top 10 draft picks and a lot of talk, as we know, about Harley Reid and stuff. But one that's got under the radar that doesn't get a lot of knowledge is Zane Dersma. He's been really disappointing. He was a very, very early pick. And if he can't get a game in this team right now and he's available, that's a worrying sign for him going forward.
Well, there's been speculation that he's out the door, that he wants out, and maybe they're happy for him to leave as well. He was famously taken ahead of Nick Watson, I think was the one in that draft. And you look back, there's also Dan Curtin. He was taken before him, so hasn't lived up to the hype. He does have some nice attributes. He looks good, but where's his position? Is he a high half forward? Does he work hard enough to play that role? Is he a wingman, or does he need to be an inside mid, which I think he probably needs to be if he's to reach his potential, but he won't be getting that position at North Melbourne anytime soon.
Carlton, Melbourne. Adam Sard is back. Francis Evans and Will White, Chincotta, Fantasia and McGovern all go out injured. Stephen May, Harry Sharp back in for the Demons. They lose Lever and Sparrow through injury.
The butchering the ball inside the forward 50 cup. This one, both of them make a lot of mistakes. Who would you rather be, Tim, going forward, Melbourne or Carlton? Because both seem to be at the same juncture in their list development and what they need to do. There's going to be big calls made at both clubs, I think, next year.
Carlton maybe just, but I've never liked their list. And Melbourne.
I think Melbourne got the better kids coming through. At least there's 3 or 4 on the ground.
Yeah, maybe.
And you do have some players that if you did offload them, there's some draft capital that you could bring in if you're strong enough. But I wonder with both clubs, can they be strong enough if they keep going down the same path with their coaches? So I'm expecting a bit of movement maybe from these two clubs, whether it's at the end of next year, but I think now's probably the time for both. But I think in this game, I'm going to go with Melbourne. Stephen May back in. I know Levers is out. Clayton Oliver plays 200. You know, Clayton Oliver almost had the best 150 games of anyone in the AFL, but here we are at 200, and his career's just been, you can never take it away from them, but he's just been tarnished a little bit with these last couple of seasons.
Very much so, on and off the field. In 1 day and 11 hours, it'll be the Eagles and Richmond right here at Optus Stadium. Yourself, myself, and Adam Simpson in the commentary. This is what Andrew McWalter said in regards to taking on the Tigers and how things have changed since the last time they met.
Yeah, watching back that game during this week, we're certainly playing, I think, better now than we were then. I know the results haven't gone our way, but there's some things in our game that we're learning every week and we're getting better at. We haven't shown the edit to Grossi yet this week, but we might just show him, spark it up at training this week. But yeah, we feel like our game's improving, and same with Tigers. They're still an experienced team. They've got a lot of experienced players in their side still. So yeah, we can't wait for Saturday night and hope a big showing of our crowd turn up.
I was in early in the week. Liam Ryan, Tim Kelly and Jack Petrocelli are in for West Coast. Hewitt is rested. Long and Malachi Champion lose their spots. No change for the Tigers.
I asked you who would you rather be, Carlton or Melbourne? Who would you rather be going forward, Richmond or West Coast?
West Coast.
Do they need a win here? Do they need a scalp? Witho was pretty certain that they need a scalp just to sell some hope.
Yeah, for the fans, I just think it's going to be reward for effort. Come to the games, been well supported in times of need. But, you know, they would want... I don't think anyone thought they would only win 2 games this year. I didn't. I thought they would be 4 or 5. I thought, okay, the coach gets the sack, they make a new coach, they've got some kids, they're another year on, everyone's excited, and they've only had 1 win, and that's a concern.
But if I told you very limited from Oscar Allen, very limited from Jake Waterman, very limited from Jeremy McGovern, nothing from Dom Sheed, nothing from Elliot Yeo.
No, that's new. That was been the problem for the last 5 years.
Yeah, but if I sold you that at the start of the year, how many wins would you have given West Coast?
Oh, I think 4.
Even 4. With all those players out?
Yeah, I think 4. I think their list is, they've got enough experience there to be a bit more competitive.
We saw a different style last week from West Coast, didn't we? All of a sudden, they weren't just bullet a gate, kicking the ball down the line, running forward handball. They were controlled. Brisbane Lions controlled. Wait, be patient, hit up the 45, and it caught them off guard for a period of time. Unfortunately, the competition catches on pretty quick, so they won't get that opportunity to catch Richmond off guard. At home, it's going to be close. It's going to come down to the moments. Yeah, I think the West Coast Eagles can get number 2.
Yeah, I do too. I think they're best. Their best. If you take out 80% of their best, it's been better than Richmond's 80% of their best. You know, they're both down the bottom for a reason. Both these teams. Alrighty, so you've tipped the West Coast Eagles there. Alrighty, we'll take a break and come back. We're doing this for Greenworks, Australia's ultimate battery-powered garden brand. We'll come back and dissect the Sunday fixtures. There's 3 of them. There's 2 crackers and 1 not so good, but one of the crackers involves Fremantle and Collingwood. Hase and Goss, thanks to Greenworks, more power, more fun from the backyard to the great outdoors. Australia's ultimate battery power garden brand. We're dissecting the fixtures this weekend. We've been through tonight and Saturday. Let's turn our attention to the Sunday games, and let's start with the one down at GMHBA Stadium. No real surprises here. Geelong will start short price favourites. Sam de Koning, Stengel and Nevitt come in. Zach Jones, Burns, Darcy Wilson, Schoenmaker are in for the Saints, and Dan Butler goes out with that elbow injury.
I don't think they're firing on all cylinders at the moment, but they've got the best run home, the Cats, so they will be inside the top 4. This corresponding game early in the season, it was the Saints who beat Geelong at Marvel Stadium, but this is down in Geelong, different kettle of fish. Bailey Smith, Max Holmes, of course, they're 2 running buddies that have just been down a little bit. I don't think Bailey Smith has been at that level since he came back from his time away, so they need to get him right. I'm a big fan of Sean Manor. I love the way that bloke goes about it. He plays sort of high half forward, gets up, can kick goals as well, but they will be winning against the Saints, who showed some promise with a lot of kids last week against Sydney, but this is a tougher challenge.
Can't wait for Sunday's fixture. It is Fremantle travelling to the MCG to take on Collingwood. The Pies have brought back in Dean, Lipinski, Myercheck, Parker, Allen and McCreary. Howe, Houston and Membry all go out injured. Fremantle have brought in Young, Erasmus and Walker. No outs at this stage.
A lot of change there, isn't there, for the Pies? What a chance for Fremantle this is. This is perfect for them. 6 weeks out from the final series, they get to go to the MCG, where you need to go through to win the premiership, and you're probably going to have to go through Collingwood to win the premiership at some stage. So they're going to get a massive audit of their game, and it's stacking up. It must be said, they go in with just as good as form as Collingwood, 7 from 8, albeit they probably haven't been as dominant as Collingwood in some of those performances.
Justin Longmuir spoke on Wednesday again about some of the learnings from the last time they played Collingwood.
Well, there's a few things. Yeah, clearly they scored too easily. I think they had 12 inside 50s off possession gains between the arcs for 11 shots. Like we want to be a bit safer behind the ball than that, a bit better behind the ball than that, which in the end was a difference in the game. And we need to be a bit better with our ball use for the centre. We were a bit stagnant that night. We've worked on that aspect of our game Predictability is good, but I think we were a bit too predictable that night with our entries.
They dominated that game, reflecting back, had a number of inside 50s, and I think Collingwood only went in sort of 30-odd times and were able to get it done. But Collingwood, on that occasion, they rested a few, didn't they? They didn't have their big names come over, so that played a part with it. But they would get confidence from that. Big decision to make on Nick Dacos, whether they sort of put somebody to him, Corey Wagner. And I think even the Pies have a choice to make with Josh Dacos. It looked like it was inevitable that he goes into the midfield, but then Dan Houston goes out of the team. So can they afford to change it up too much? He probably goes back in defence and maybe use him if the emergency card is required, if it's not going too well, like on the weekend against the Gold Coast Suns. The forwards for Fremantle just need a bit more from them. Amos, Voss, Tracy, they're winning, but they're not collectively kicking big bags of goals. And that's a positive for Fremantle. They're finding other ways to score, whether that be their small forwards or their midfielders. But I think if you are to win some big finals, you just need a bit more out of those three. What role for Hayden Young if he does play? Tim, what role? Is it midfield forward? Do we look at him in the half back line?
I don't think I think that would put too much pressure on him. I think they've got to just ease him in now, whether that is limited minutes coming off as interchange, limited minutes coming off as the sub, or as you say, half forward. I think there'll be I think it would be too much to ask for him to go into the midfield.
I think he's played a bit of half forward early in the year when he was come back in. So he's been in this situation where he's split his time, and maybe you do that with Shea Bolton, who enjoys getting up in the midfield. And then there's the ruck battle. Darcy Cameron up against Jackson and Darcy. They've got to make this work, and this is a good chance to do it on the big stage against one of the best informed rucks.
Who wins?
I'm going the upset. I'm going with Freo, and what if they win? Then it's on.
Yeah.
It's on like Donkey Kong top 4
100%.
becomes a possibility.
100% of beating Hawthorn. If you'd said to most people, you've got Hawthorn and Collingwood in those 2 weeks, what would you take? Oh, I'd take 1 win. You wouldn't take 0, and you'd take 2 every day of the week. It would be huge for the football club going forward. Yeah, I'm a believer. I've always been a believer, and I think that they're a chance. Yeah, so good luck to Fremantle fans. Hope it's a good day for you on Sunday. The last game of the round, Nick Murray, Nankervis, Bond, Pedler and Burgess come back in for the Crows. Butts and Cook go out injured. Collins, Moyle, Lombard and Carly Ray is back. Of course, Carly Ray Jepson comes in for his debut. He's making his first appearance, Carly Ray Jepson.
Debuting this weekend.
Benny Jepson it is. And Daniel Rioli in his 200th AFL game. And Ben Ainsworth gets life membership for 150.
Yeah, well done. 200 games. That's a terrific achievement. Happened pretty quick too for Daniel Rioli. Sort of snuck up on me, as did the Hugh McCluggage one. You think these guys are young players and all of a sudden they played 200. Do you believe in letdowns, Tim? Is there a letdown factor potentially here for Gold Coast? So emotional last week, of course. Big game. Collingwood's always the biggest ticket in town. They built it up, they sold it out, and they got there in the end after playing some good footy in the first half. So that's the risk here. And maybe also for the Adelaide Crows. Like, how mature are you as a team? Everybody's now on the back of a good win against the Bulldogs. The talk has been about the Crows, the three-headed monster. Can they win it? They've got all pieces. Jordan Dawson has signed up. So for them, it's the mental challenge to say, hang on, we need to keep on winning and beat these good sides. So I feel maybe there's a letdown coming for both of these teams.
They're both going to get a good spin of it, aren't they? They're going to see Hawthorn beat Port Adelaide or win or lose against Port Adelaide. They're going to see tonight's fixture with what the Western Bulldogs can do against Brisbane. Winning them is going to be highlighted even more depending on those results going into this game. Because neither of these two teams, and we know Hawthorn can't afford to keep... Hawthorn can't afford to...
They're in the most danger, the Hawks,
100% they are.
Yeah.
And if that happens, it's been a disappointing year because they were in, many believe, a contender, a genuine, not just a top 4, they were a genuine premiership contender, the best of Hawthorn.
The reality is the Gold Coast is in 4th position right now because they got that game up their sleeve. Sometimes you don't take that into account. They will beat Essendon at the last game of the year because the Bombers will be decimated. There'll be more surgeries there. They may not be able to field a side. So that's a foregone conclusion. Good midfield battle. Took Miller's a big out for the Gold Coast Suns.
Huge.
He would play on maybe Jordan Dawson, spend some time there. Anderson, I think he's a good chance for the Brownlow medal if Matty Rao doesn't take too many votes.
Who are you tipping?
I'm tipping Adelaide at home.
Greenworks, more power, more fun. From backyard to the great outdoors, Australia's ultimate battery-powered garden brand.